Today is the feast of Saint Teresa of Avila. Born 1515, died 1587, I think, something around there. She was born to a family of royals. Her mother dies when she's 12. She has visions. She wants to be in the religious life. Her father wants her to be married. Her family wants her to get married. At 17, she leaves to join an order, and they become convinced that that is where she belongs. She gets sick. The sickness and the supposed medical procedures to heal her, and the whatever you call it, between the sickness and the cure, her health deteriorates. She manages to live to 60-something years old. Anyway, she is a mystical writer. At one point, they're not sure what to make of her. I think I'm probably getting this part a little wrong, but they weren't sure if she was speaking, accurate church teaching or not. I think she's taken for Inquisition, and even inquired to by St. Francis Borgia, who we talked about within the last month or so. St. Francis Borgia. And he concludes that she's legit. What she's speaking is accurate faith. There's no demonic influence and no error. She is named a doctor of the church, I think in the 1950s or 60s, by St. Paul VI. And I would ask, as I've said before, all the lady saints, Saint Teresa of Avila, and all the lady saints to pray for all women, particularly women of voting age, and all women, period, that they would come to understand that motherhood is not a curse, but a gift. That when we engage in the marital act, most of the time a baby isn't forthcoming, but on that occasion, God blessed that. God is accepting of that birth, of that child. That child has a soul immediately. I think that's how it's worked. Yeah. So as soon as that life begins, and that baby is a separate human entity. Whoa, what was that? Separate human entity. That child has a soul. And I don't know what the point was. So anyway, that all women would recognize that they have human life within them, in their womb, and that's a precious thing to take care of. I've said years ago, I was so impressed. It was a drug against drugs, and it's a gorilla with a human baby in its arms, and the caption says, if someone tried to, how did it worded? She would never let someone give her child drugs. In other words, even this gorilla, this savage beast, this animal, would never allow anything to hurt her offspring. And yet we have allowed, quote, legally, we only have, God gives us our rights. Our rights come from God, not from government. And government only has its rights also through God, because each of us have our rights from God. For a government to allow abortion is basically saying that country is fine with their own citizens killing their future, killing themselves. In other words, committing suicide, in a way. They are killing their society one baby at a time. And so I would ask St. Teresa of Avila and all the lady saints to pray for a recognition. You know, this 200 years ago, no, let's say 300 years ago, probably before we became, quote, enlightened or whatever, I don't know. But 300 years ago, it would have been inconceivable for anyone. Everyone recognized that babies, also since babies died so often, to have a baby survive into adulthood was also recognized as the blessing that it is. And the fact that you could even come to term and have the baby and it would be born healthy was an amazing fact. And we recognized that in those days when we were so primitive. And now we just feel it's okay to throw that life away. We can get another one tomorrow. We can get another one next month. Well, I don't know. Who are the evolved civilization? Who is the smart ones? Those people 300 years ago who would have never conceived of destroying conception, or us today? So let's ask all the saints, particularly Lady Saints, to speak to the hearts, and the Holy Spirit to speak to the hearts of all women. And all men, and all men, and all men, and all people, to recognize what life is. To recognize, like my children used to go, look, Mom, look, Dad, that lady's having a baby. And today, someone would say, yeah, that's just a clump of cells. Are you smarter than a six-year-old? Let's see.